But I've dedicated some 30 years to find out what is actually going on, to do my part in revealing these conspiracies that are really threatening our whole civilization, because I think we all deserve a very beautiful and wonderful future. It's come forward that the deeper I dig, the more I end up in the same place. And what we're talking about is a global elite it's a small group of people. There are only like 5,000-6,000 total globally, but they are behind so much mayhem about what is going on in the world today. And I would humbly suggest that I found a red thread that is connecting many of the major historical events that has been carried out, blamed on terrorists and lone crazy people. But when you see the actual evidence where it's pointing to the very same elite, and also to a small team of assassins that they worked and used since the early 1960s all the way up until today.
The fundamental nature of the problem of human slavery is that most human beings do not have a full and accurate understanding of true objective morality. It is the intermediary for spirit and matter to unite and manifest. This is why water is in all life. It's the key component.
Mental health has been ignorant of mind control and healing from it very deliberately. The information was suppressed under a blanket of national security. Mind control is a sliding scale from the kind of robotic MK Ultra mind control that I experienced on a White House Pentagon level to information control, because we all formulate our thoughts, opinions, and actions based on what we know, and our knowledge base has been deliberately altered because knowledge is our defense against mind control. Truth makes us free. And over 90% of those in mental health got in the business to find out what was wrong with themselves. People have to heal first in order to help others.
But it's all based around the soul. And he believed that this language, which was an integral part of a time when civilization was at its highest, what he means by that is that everything was devoted to spiritual concerns. This language is a language that was used at a time when the most important aspect of everything was the spirit, the soul, the creator.
In the ancient past, once upon a time in a faraway land, there was an ancient trauma that occurred on this planet of some kind. A lot of this in Carl Jung, where he talks about the shadow work. Well, he's talking about addressing and healing this ancient trauma. And this ancient trauma, just like our symbol archive from the ancient world, is actually encoded in our DNA through the phylogenetic memory that we all carry. That's why you talk to, say, Indigenous peoples or First Nations peoples, and they tell you about the wisdom of the elders or the wisdom of the ancestors, that you can tap into the wisdom of the ancestors. True place is that it's that imperial self, that wise, intelligent self that you have, that everybody has, that was the king of the house, of the mind of the human. And then some trauma happened, and the defense mechanism, so it's like a compensatory thing that happens, right? Where now you're compensating because there's a deficiency because of the trauma, because of the wound. And when you overcompensate to protect yourself, you actually keep hurting yourself. And now that little ego voice becomes the dominant emperor of your mind. And that's the inner conspiracy that I've just described. That's
everything we know, everything we understand about this world and the next world and everything all came from the creation beings, from the Marga. So Marga taught us the songs, the dances, the names of everything, taught us survival, gave us our names, split us into our groups, everything. Everything about everything that we know came from the Marga. They were utilizing knowledge that was in harmony with the landscape around. They didn't have to change much because you don't need to change anything because the world already provides everything that you need. So that's all they were doing. They were just taking what they needed and lived a really balanced lifestyle with the planet. Because for us, what the Marga, one of the main things they taught us was that we have to look after and protect the earth because the earth is our mother.
So every level of the last 3 years was designed to disconnect one from source. But we're going, no, it's the vaccine that does that. And then, no, it's AI that does that. It's transhumanism does that. It's like, no, you do that by way of authors. And it's all in here. It's all Wetiko. It's all the mind virus. It's like we separate ourselves from our own consciousness, our own Christos. And then how do we do that? Yeah, we buy into medications. We buy into stories. We buy into fiction. But then also we buy into the good, quote unquote, what we believe is the good version of fiction, but we don't think it's fiction. We're like, I'll just turn to Jesus and I'll be saved. I won't have the mark of the beast. It's like, well, there you go. You're in the same boat. So
the journey outward, the escape was over. And I realized I have to go in. I have to face myself. And they performed the darkest things imaginable. And I experienced and witnessed this from the age of 6 to 11, when I was rescued from someone from the inside. It's difficult to hear about the reality of the darkness of the world because it requires for us to go through some feelings perhaps, and may we all be victorious.
Trying to come to an understanding around something or trying to come to the truth or fact about something, right? So the first step is you're analyzing the data, you're analyzing the information. So you're more doing it from like a observational space. You're taking in different perspectives, you're reading things, you're listening to things, and you're in that first stage. And then the next stage is synthesizing, where you're filling in the gaps and moving together with a certain understanding or like, topic or whatever. That is the way to learn, rather than, through conversation, listening to people's stories, their research, their experience, their wisdom, and then asking questions and then bringing in other people, kind of worldview shared, and then another one, and even kind of like even talking about like the negative and positive sides of different things as well. Being able to take in both of those and hold them and discuss them, I think that's we attract absolute legends.
Yeah, I was going to say that. They really understand that. But see two opposing things and then be able to join that. I guess that's what we're doing, right?
Yeah, hold them simultaneously, because that's all.